what sorts of challenges do you face in terms of structural biology and high-resolution studies? What are the opportunities and dangers that are posed by approaches such as AlphaFold and the problem of spurious data submitted in the public repositories? And how do we deal with the perils of sort of mapping from these experimental data with high-resolution structures to model-based data?
Yeah, I'll jump on that one. I think in a word, it's validation. I think the main thing to take from, say, protein LLMs are sort of suggestions. And when you kind of loop that into, as I mentioned before, a Bayesian optimization approach, which then kind of presents suggestions based on the fitness landscape, and the fitness is essentially whatever you're trying to measure, you still have to test those out in the lab to validate or not whether those sort of predictions were valid, and so that's a major thing for us in sort of where we're really looking at enzymatic activity. It's quite a big challenge. I think there are really good models that are more sort of ligand binding or stability or thermostability out there. So I think those are probably a little bit more robust. But for us, it's okay. This is a great set of suggestions. We actually run those through an additional set of validations computationally, and then those will go into our lab process for actual validation.
All I would add to that is that I think speed is really still a problem. Like the structural predictions are still slow, and in a lot of cases, there's very few structures that are actually out there that we can compare against. Certainly for things like TCRs, there's probably the smallest amount. Maybe antibodies is a little bit better. But AlphaFold is completely unique in kind of the scale of data that was able to train and validate that model. So I agree, it's completely around how quickly can we get, can we reduce just the cost of the cost of time to produce structures, and then how do we validate that in the wet lab? I don't think people really believe predictions of models right now, unless you take it to experimentation. That is ultimately the source of truth that people believe.